I'm on for a bit if you want. Oh, sure. Do you want a voice, or do you just want to be a floating? Do you want to be a floating text box? How would you like to do this? Foo-foo, as in little bunny foo-foo. My cat thinks the same thing quite often, but he would fight him over the food. You can voice for a bit? All right. So we are going to hear the voice of Flumph in just a moment. 20 or 30 minutes? Okay. Hey, I think we can get a lot done, and, anything left, left over, trust me to take care of it. But that way we can talk a little bit about... D&D time and especially what's been going on. Why does this character exist? Hello, hello. Let me make sure that volumes are going to be at appropriate levels here. I think I had to turn you up. Chat, can you hear Trustaflumph?
Giving you even the slightest bit of joy on this cold, dark, and dreary evening.
They are sonorous. And the cat is in my box of minis. Well, there you go, everyone. You just saw one of my cats just creep across the minis. They've been blessed, everyone. People are saying no, but I had to click another button in order. As you were talking, I clicked the button, so they'll hopefully hear.
Hello, chat. Matty, thanks for having me on as a brief guest.
Yes. It is my pleasure. Let me make sure that I'm going to turn the background down just a bit to be safe, and then I'm going to turn the other audio up here as I'm playing one-man mixer board. All right. Now, if any of you, I don't know how much there's a delay. Were you guys having this problem a little earlier? I'm dropping frames.
No, we were having some weird issues. Twitch has not been cooperating lately.
Okay. So hopefully whatever bubble is kind of floating through the internet right now. I guess the show must go on as I'm making these adjustments. People are saying I'm quiet too, so... Alright, I hope we've reached some kind of a good balance. I don't know how much delay there is out there, maybe... I don't know, it seems like from the comments... I don't know, 10 seconds it can be kind of normal. Both Matty and Flumph need to be turned up a bit more. Alright, well I guess we're...
So it shall be!
Yes. Okay. We are now broadcasting at ultra maximum. This is not when you buy the ultimate edition of a AAA title and it's like mid-tier. No, we are the ultimate, the ultimate gold.
This is all the DLC.
Steel box with one of the 5 season passes included.
That's pretty generous.
Yes. Good now. Delay's not even 5 seconds, I would say. Okay. Hey, people are saying yay voices. All right, so congratulations. You all had your Ultra Ultimate Edition, Saga Edition, whatever. What's the one that Ubisoft uses all the time? The not Ultra, Iconic.
Oh, that's a good one.
This is the Iconic edition of MattyMorgs X D&D time. And,
hello.
Is horse armor part of the pack? No. We've made 200 different colored clones of horse armor. You're gonna have to buy separately. And all your friends on the internet are gonna judge you if you don't have all 200. So hashtag just saying. All right.
Well, also,
anyway.
one of them is better. So you have to buy the better one.
That's true. And even if it's not, everyone on the internet says it is. Since we only have you for a little bit of time, I figure we'll just jump to it. I cannot promise that I will not try and find some pun opportunities.
That should be fine.
So I did this experiment with you before I started playing, which was a couple months now, I'd say, where we ended up looking at the 3, but now there's 4 custom homebrew races that you allow in D&D time on Fridays. And and in that process, I ended up making randomly a blossomer floran. So I'm a plant creature that is more flowery than a fungus or a tree, which were the sub races, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
And in the creation process, I rolled the sailor background. And part of the sailor background was that you get a lucky charm. So we went to the table in the player's handbook, and I rolled it, and it said something like a lucky rabbit's foot. Well, lo and behold, we have a kind of an alien character, because, Florans are plant people. They don't necessarily live as many other, mammals or humanoids might. And so I asked you if it would be okay if the lucky rabbit charm was the foot of a friend of mine who died, and I carry it with me as a reminder of him. And you gave me permission to do so. And now, after an arduous grind, just 3 levels of just pure, death. No, it's not desk worthy. It's been a ton of fun. We had a boss battle on Friday, and it looks like Zewxip is now level 4. So I'm in what you call the Fable tier, correct?
Yes, in D&D time, we separate the kind of groups into 4 separate tiers based on their levels, and the whole purpose of it is just to make sure we don't get any level 8 characters playing with level 1 characters, because that's just gonna feel bad. Level. So, yeah, you have now entered the fabled tier of adventuring, which means you need a new level 1 character, Matty.
Yes. I will, I'm not going to retire Zewxip per se. In fact, I'd like to play her still and, have her continue to grow. But for those of you who didn't see that episode, I asked the great wizard Bartholomew, who hands out these adventures, a bit of a contentious figure in D&D time, but people respect him begrudgingly or open-heartedly, or backhandedly.
Usually it's some combination of
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I guess really, he's a great blue wizard. You just gotta Photoshop Will Smith's face onto him one time and see if people get the meme. He's just a fun blue magic user. But anyway, I was beseeching as Zewxip Bartholomew to bring back my friend, and I waggled this rabbit's paw in front of him. I was even willing to give my life up to exchange to bring him back. And Bartholomew said, nay, I will do this. He'll have to adventure for me for a while, but I will still do this. And so this is the roleplay prompt, which, by the way, I kind of just dumped on you all. It's not that we don't talk about this behind the scenes or anything. I just kind of brought that up. Yeah. And so here we are, and I want to have a Bunnyfolk character who is now brought back from the dead, and was a friend to Zewxip. And let's discover who this character is, and talk about what you all do, and what the Bunnyfolk, who they are, how they operate, and I guess we'll see what we end up getting here. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I love that question, right? What are, or who are the Bunnyfolk, right? Mm-hmm. That's something that we get all the time when we're talking about these homebrew races. Because when most people make a homebrew race, right, they have a very specific, maybe, idea for what it is. Take, for example, I know it's homebrew, but, look at the Warforged from Eber, right? There's a very defined definition of what a Warforged is, especially in the context. But in D&D time, we have, at this point, we have 3 or 4 different homebrew races. And for the most part, although we do use some kind of guideline, it's up in the air as to what it really is, right? What is a bunny? Is it an actual, rabbit that just has sentience? Is it a anthropomorphized, rabbit-like person? Those kind of things are totally up to the player, right? To whomever wants to play the race. We don't super define it. We do give some guidelines, right, in the PDF.
Yeah,
But
you have a very good a start for people who want to wonder about a starting culture. Do they want to attach to that, and then therefore interact with what is presented as D&D time lore, where it was saying the Bunnyfolk were made by a demigod that was seeking more followers, but the rabbits, kind of, I guess, being rabbits, just sort of
got distracted.
Yeah, they got distracted and sort of ran off back into the wild. And so continuing down, you even have this formatted like a really good like Unearthed Arcana, and I like that. If any of you out there in audience land are familiar with Unearthed Arcana. So there's a very good prompt here, and if you decide to look at this content, if you want to play with Pete and Jeremy, please look at these as options. And I'll tell you this too: if I roll Druid for this character, I think I'll just automatically go to the Circle of Ruin that you all had automatically generated, because why not? If I'm playing in D&D time, let's get the experience.
Yeah, and the thing about this, right? We try and design all of our homebrew stuff with the intent of you could use this wherever you want, right? You could play this in D&D time. You could absolutely play this in whatever home game. Obviously, talk to Dungeon Man, but for the most part, we try and balance things to be consistent with the rest of. You're not going to find the super mega double human where I'm just twice as good as a normal human.
Are we playing Munchkin now? Like I think I made that.
I kicked down the door.
I'll have to look and see if I can make the super, like the mega double human again in Munchkin. That sounds fun. But yes, that's true. So here, for everyone out there in audience land, I'm your plant. Well, Zewxip aside, I'm the guy in the inside, and I can assure you that these guys are actually, they're not just making super powered stuff for funsies, or that this is a super powered class, but we have super powered specific counters to it, and in fact, you could watch them homebrew. In fact, this Sunday is a brewing session for magic items on your channel, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we're going to be finishing up. Actually, we have a subclass that we're finishing up, and then we're going to transition over into magic items for the latter half.
The Dream Monk, yes?
Yes, the Path of Dream. Very excited how it's on. We've been working on it for a couple weeks. Very, very pleased.
Well then, I will be there. Sundays are usually when I don't broadcast, and I like sitting down. You alternate between your brewing and your Dragon Heist. We popped a couple of those boxes and went on little mini adventures, but you're doing the real deal, the 1 to 5.
Oh yeah,
right.
It's really too bad there's no Floon Blagmar in the box. Who doesn't want? I guess I could just use generic Froofy Noble.
Yeah, there are 2 nobles in there if you needed to, or just use Mert. He looks pretty.
Oh, I need Mert.
Let's see.
Either way.
Bunnyfolk have a unique understanding of life, death, and the world at large. Despite centuries of existence, the nature of their origin means that the Bunnyfolk tend to lack certain instincts that other creatures may deem basic. Colony may make its burrow just outside of a monster's lair, despite obvious signs of monstrous activity, without realizing that the creature is there, till one of the Bunnyfolk actually sees it, at which point the colony becomes erratic, either entering into a full panic, assaulting the creature head-on, or remaining relatively unfazed when the monster is not directly threatening it. Or they'll live in harmony with the little trolldles, I think is what you call
them. The little trolldle.
The trolldles.
Yeah, a lot of the text here, like the unique disposition stuff, there's a lot of cool flavor text in that. But at the same time, if you wanted to play a very well-learned Bunnyfolk character, there's absolutely nothing to stop you, right? This is all just meant to inspire, right, the kind of character that you might want to play.
Yeah, or if you have a character... do you want to play Basil Staghair from Redwall? Basil Staghair from Redwall.
It's so long since I've read Red.
Do you want to have kind of a heroic Watership Down moment? You could do that too. Or you could always go for sort of like, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, but just as a rabbit. So you have also some Bunnyfolk name suggestions, but as you're saying, look, this is your character. If you play at home or especially with us, you don't have to go by what we say. Have fun and play D&D, and that's what we made this race to do.
Absolutely. That is 100% our MO in D&D time, and that holds through for everything. We want to give ideas for those who are looking for inspiration, but for example, in your case, right, where you like to randomly roll everything, yes. Which is an awesome exercise in like coming up with and discovering characters. Go. You might come to a character that has looked hell. You might get the soldier background and get the I've stared a hellhound a heckhound in the eyes and without flinching, and that's totally contrary to the Bunnyfolk quote unquote lore that we put in the doc. But that's awesome, right? Because then you ask the question, well, why? Wait, what happened? I guess he stared a hellhound.
Yeah, but what was the encounter, right? What?
Maybe that's when you died.
Oh
no!
Actually, yeah, we got to consider that. In fact, I'll tell you a little inside baseball here, Trust a Flump. I considered not rolling randomly for the background, and I would give him the Haunted One background from Curse of Strahd, because that's his last memories were of something that has happened, and I'm kind of tempted to do that still, but I don't know.
Well, we'll play it by ear.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear. We'll get to it. All right, so I know that I'm playing a bunny, folks, so I'm not going to have to worry about this step 2, but step 1, do I have a boy bunny or a girl bunny? I'm going to roll percentile on that. Now, because D&D time does not allow multi-classing, just as a heads up for everyone, no feats and no multi-classing. That doesn't mean you don't have options, by the way. If you've been in this channel for a while, we stick to the core books, and you could do so much with just the content in the core books. So I don't want that to sound limiting or like, these guys are like tyrants or whatever, that they think it's broken. It's just, it's what they're presenting. I think it keeps it simple, is that the reason?
Yeah, our main reasoning is to keep it simple and new player, right? We don't want, it's partly a balance thing. We don't want someone coming in at level 1 with like, my great weapon master human, and then just absolutely raffle stomping and just being so much more powerful than the other, maybe new characters who don't know how to optimize a character so much.
Yeah.
But also it just makes it a lot easier for people watching.
Yeah, and you're open for new players, people who haven't played D&D at all. You welcome newcomers to your table. Absolutely. Which thank you for doing, because there's a drought of DMs.
They're absolutely. And I think it's just because people don't push it. I think so many people would make excellent dungeon masters made with, and it's just a matter of taking that first step to do it, and then finding out, hey, this isn't so hard.
Now I rolled a 50 on my D100. Normally on 1 to 45 it would be a female, 46 to 90 would be a male, because I leave a 10% chance in the traditional method that we use here to multi-class into a character. Though if we kind of extrapolate that, 1 to 50 would be female, 51 to 100 would be male. And so we're on that cusp. So we have a female Bunnyfolk. And now I'm going to roll 2 percentile, and we're going to discover her alignment. 45 and 6 is going to bring us to Lawful Good. A Lawful Good female Bunnyfolk.
It would be great if we got that Paladin. That would be neat.
We're going to roll 1. We're rolling a level 1 character up, is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to worry about replacing any stat bumps with feats, because we don't get any stat bumps yet, not until 4. Now, for our background, there are 13 different backgrounds, and so what I'm thinking, if we didn't just want to go for Haunted One, because that one could be very thematic, brought back to life, but carries this, whatever. Or so we could go automatically with that. We could stick to the normal 13, or I could just roll a D14. And you know what? If we get a 14, Haunted One was meant to be. What would you suggest here?
I mean, it's kind of up to you, right? I know here you like to go to the whims of fate. So maybe we do the D14 if we want to put it in fate's hand.
D14. If I get a 14, we're going to open up Curse of Strahd, and we're going to look at that background, and we will have a haunted one. Not a 14. We did get a 3. A criminal or a spy. And we'll determine kind of two sides of the same coin, but we'll determine which one she is after I think we get some more of her personality fleshed out. That is going to, there's a D8 for the specialty of our crime or our espionage, and that is number 7. Offhand, I mean, if any of you good students out there have your player's handbooks open for tonight's workshop, waggle, waggle finger, or as Trust a Flump would waggle a tendril, then you might already be at chapter 4 of the player's handbook looking at C for criminal and what option number 7 is. But I don't know offhand because memorizing all that would just be bonkers. So I'm going to roll 2d8 for placeholder personality traits, 3 and 8. And I'm going to roll 3d6 for ideal, bond, and flaw. Which I will tell you, not that I ever feel forced to in the Friday games, I have done my utmost to stick with those aspects as guidelines for my character, for Zewxip.
Oh, yeah?
4, 5, yep.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
Throwing away my life for justice, kind of being that the daredevil,
yep.
Being loyal to people. This is all a part of my sailing floran blossomer ways. All right, now it's big...
One of the things love. I'm sorry to interject.
No, it's fine. We're at the big question. This is, for many people, this is the juiciest bit. Yeah, we know your race, or even your background, because background for a lot of people is still new. We're used to just saying, "Oh, I'm an elven cleric" or whatever. But your character sits on a stool of. You need at least 3 legs to have a stable stool, and that's background is the 3rd leg that you really need. But class, that's the engine, right? And let's find out on a D12. Which on this Wizards of the Coast dice roller is beautiful because it's a big golden D12. And I know how much, because you said this earlier, you love rolling D12s.
D12s are great. They're my favorite die.
They're the mimics of D20.
They really are.
Let's roll this and find out what our Bunnyfolk is going to be, how she'll be expressing herself. 7. 7 is a Paladin. You mentioned Paladin.
I called it. There we go. A paladin criminal. Spy. You're lawful good. Interesting.
I'm lawful good, though I wonder if we get a vengeance paladin, maybe that could go into how we perished at the start. Or that we've been brought back. Yeah, Bartholomew have been channeling it. Maybe we've been brought back to serve a function. So D&D time, though, doesn't have a custom paladin. Am I correct? Am I going with the base 3?
We just got the base 3.
Okay. So Oath of Devotion, Ancients, and Vengeance. I'm going to generate a D3 and roll it. 3. We are a Vengeance paladin. Technically not yet, because that doesn't happen until 3, but I'm keeping that as a little placeholder note.
See, this is building a really interesting story, right? Because even though we're randomly generating the character, there's some stuff that we already know about the character, right? They served with Zewxip on a ship, or maybe not on a ship, but they're like good friends with Zewxip. There was some common tragedy that they shared at some point where this character died. Maybe it was like a battler.
Yeah.
And so that would be very interesting. I'm wondering how this character feels about They were brought back to life, but how do they feel about that?
Well, have you read or seen Pet Sematary?
Unfortunately, I haven't. I'm kind of a cultural noob.
Well, if you get the opportunity to, obviously there's differences between the movie and the Stephen King book here, but with the death, let's see. So we have a Bunnyfolk, we have a flower. So maybe the two communities kind of grew up together in the same pasture. The Florans or just the blossomer in the area, maybe specifically the Florans, would trade their dead, because they only live in the game world lore for like 12 years. They renew, they're perennials.
Of course.
So maybe they trade the Bunnyfolk their dead to eat because they're like super nutritious and good, and the Bunnyfolk trade either protection or, honestly, look, do you know how much rabbits poop?
I was figuring you were going there.
And
yeah,
so
I mean, that totally works.
It's holistic. I mean, that might make a couple people kind of like, you know, snicker or kind of go, ugh. Or if anyone's owned a rabbit, you know that, I mean, you're almost a raisinette factory at that point. So maybe these two communities live together, and so they would grow up together. Little Bunnyfolk kids, you know, would grow up and they'd have some seedling friends. You know, they'd kind of run in packs and you know, they'd have these exchanges, which to an outside culture would seem very odd or barbaric or just kind of weird or gross. But to these two, it was perfect harmony, right? Nothing's going to waste. And they're able to complement each other. So maybe Zewxip grew up with this character that we're making. You know, they would go to school, kind of, you know, dance and play in the summer fields. You know, this is Lorwyn we're talking about right now. But then for every Lorwyn and Morningtide, Eventide's going to have to fall. And so we can have them sign up to go on a grand adventure together. Maybe it would have been their sort of final adventure before they each had to go off and be adults and do whatever they're going to do. And so they were sailors. However, maybe this Bunnyfolk either had a reputation that Zewxip didn't know about, or coming back. You know, this says criminal or spy, and that's in the mortal world. What if whatever entity, or this is even, you know, on behalf of Bartholomew as the resurrecting agent, and this is the contract, is a criminal, you know, like an infiltrator or a spy for Bartholomew or for the god that is granting these powers. So almost like a divine warlock in that sense. So, you know, the bunny kind of cut down in her prime. This is what we would call like Session 0 or Kid Adventures or other lingo like that. Zewxip cuts off the foot and keeps it as an implement, and then goes on to sail to different ports, ends up meeting her brass dragon lover, you know, pursues sorcery because of that. And also, during Zewxip's generation, her ideal was actually a quote-unquote evil ideal, despite her being, I think, chaotic good, which was you know, predatory. You know, all the ships in the sea will know me, or like I'll conquer them. And we kind of fleshed it out to be she's going to plant a seed of herself on every ship, so every ship has a Zewxip, and for function. But also, what if she's doing this because she's searching the world for a way to bring her friend back, and one of the Zewxips just did that, and so that could fulfill, you know, that could fulfill something even more deep and meaningful. And when her friend comes back now in the form that we're creating, this could be, well, like in Pet Cemetery, you know, you have your pet cat, you know, very friendly, maybe a little mischievous. Something unfortunate happens. I mean, given the title, I hope I'm not really, you know, spoiling anything. It's called Pet Cemetery. There's a cemetery and there's pets. But when the cat comes back the very next day, the cat came back, you thought he was a goner. The cat doesn't have the same personality anymore. The cat just isn't.
They're changed.
Yeah, they're changed. And so we have lawful good doesn't mean lawful nice, and we have a vengeance paladin on our hands.
Yeah, I mean, very interested in figuring out, and maybe we don't totally flesh it out. Maybe we leave it sort of nebulous, sort of up in the. Yeah. But I really like this idea that, like, so this character is a paladin. That's the class we picked. But were they a paladin beforehand, or were they simply a young Bunnyfolk cut down in their youth or in their prime before they even really were a true adventurer?
Yeah, I think this happened in Kid Adventures, where you're like a level 0 commoner, where you're a non-combatant, you have 1 hit point, and, you know, average everything if you're lucky. And so this was traumatic for both Zewxip and for our to be named Bunnyfolk.
And I like that as a means of like, well, why? So we're figuring out stuff about Zewxip here too, right? Why did Zewxip leave the past, right? Why did Zewxip leave the past? Why is this character a vengeance paladin? And I think we've kind of answered that to some degree. Something knocked it out, right? Something created this traumatic event, killed the Bunnyfolk, and sent Zewxip on her grand quest.
Yeah. And that's... And what I love about 5th edition, my friend, is that for as much as we're talking about being a player character, this, whether you use it or not, as a DM now, if you put on your DM hat as a DM in D&D time, just by the creation of the character in this campaign setting, in this world, now you have another fertile field of ideas. You know, maybe a villain or a boss. Maybe there is a pirate out there that is willing to cut down young Bunnyfolk and blossomers. Or it doesn't matter if there's, I was going to say colloquial damage. That's not the collateral damage.
Collateral? People call it damage, but...
yeah, it's regional, really. Whatever people call it. It's colloquial. DMG.
Yeah, in Central City they call it a pest extermination.
And so now for you as a DM, this is giving you stuff to think about that if it's ever convenient, whether or not you employ it or you pursue it, your world as the DM is now fleshed out, and my PC in your world is fleshed out, and it's harmonious. I love it.
Yeah, and one of the greatest things about D&D time is, because of our very short 1 hour session kind of nature, we don't end up getting to a lot of backstory stuff for characters often. But one of the things that blows me away, and it's something that I never even kind of fathomed when we started playing it and started doing the game, was that other players would hear about these backstories, right, that someone had come up with, and be like, wow, that's really cool. I want to build on that, right? I'm inspired by that. One of the great deities of the land of D&D time is an entity just called the Great Big Cloud, which one of the players created for his character. A very primal lizard folk who worship this primal force. And other players were like, that's awesome. I want to do that too. And, at this point, we've got at least a dozen characters that all worship the Great Big Cloud. It's by far the most worshipped deity in the land of D&D time, at least among players. And I like that kind of stuff, right? Because we're adding to this world. Maybe there is this ominous threat. Maybe it is a pirate lord that raided the pasture. Maybe the pasture's on the sea or near the ocean or something. We're creating these cool little bits that can help to inspire other, and I really, really love that. Something I never even thought of.
It takes a lot of pressure off of you as a storyteller when your players are attentive and they're contributing and they're really getting into it. And I'll tell you, as you were talking about that, I was filling in a couple side details. Here you have Bunnyfolk reach adulthood after 6 months and can live up to 15 years. Well, if he died in Kid Adventures, I rolled a D3 and I got a 1. So I put him as a 1-year-old young adult Bunnyfolk. And I think that works in its own way because that's the average life cycle of a blossomer. Though interestingly enough, because blossomers do get to kind of reincarnate themselves, they're perennial in that sense. I can almost see it that culturally the blossomers, or at least of this example, 2 tribes living together, they're harmonious, but the blossomers might sort of remember and almost like a Dax parasite from Deep Space Nine or Star Trek. No, wait, I forget. You're not Star Trek.
I am the next generation. I have not watched.
Next gen. Oh well, then
I keep trying to get the girlfriend, but
it's the symbiotes.
Yes.
Yeah, and so in this case, Zewxip might have been. It's almost that elven conundrum. Like you have an elf and a human who are friends, and the elf looks to the human and says, "Oh yeah, I knew your great grandfather and I went fishing often." And, it's because you just have this sort of detachment. So they're both the same age and still having to go through, learning and playing and all of that. But maybe the memories remain in the husk, or however. And so maybe that's kind of why Zewxip is a little bit more brooding about this, or is obsessed with bringing the friend back, because that memory won't die even if she did. In fact, for all we know, this could have happened 50 years ago.
Yeah, I was getting to that. How long ago has it been?
And it's added to that. And so, she's become more determined. Well, obviously she had to. She sought out a dragon and then subsequently seduced a dragon, or the dragon seduced her, or it was just sort of mutual. And she
mutual
found
seduction.
Power, the sorcerer's power. She was receiving his blessing. We'll keep it, in that terminology. She's receiving this power through him, and she's going to spread across the world. And so, yeah, we're now fleshing out the D&D time, the lands of D&D time. I think that's the official name for it. The lands of D&D time, the old character, and now we're adding to the new character, and it's all very exciting.
Yes, I really like that. So I'm wondering, the big question I'm at right now, right, is we have this concept that some time ago, the Bunnyfolk, she died, and then was resurrected very recent.
Yes.
And I'm wondering because we're going this path of vengeance, this oath of vengeance rather. What are they vengeful? Like,
well, I would imagine if she's stuck to the sea, if Zewxip has been a sailor, I guess she didn't have to be, because she could have gone sailing to try and find a way to bring him back. Because look, you want to see the world, you want to be exposed to all sorts of cool, strange stuff. You sail. You sail around the world. Oh, Ivlon says that backstory reminds me of an episode of The Magicians. I've been recommended that show. I've caught portions of episodes over shoulders. I haven't seen it, but hopefully it was a good episode. That Ivlon ? Oh, it's not. Well, yeah. The Magicians is not PG-13. I mean, if you want to, kind of make it, Marvel movie PG-13, that's fine. That's.
Unless it's so not PG-13 that it can't.
I mean, in Thor Ragnarok, I think I heard the term "devil's anus" mentioned like 5 times. So that's
that's very true.
And you're allowed 1 F-bomb too, so you got to use it wisely. So let's. Who would threaten? Who would threaten this? This peaceful. This peaceful glade of where blossomers and bunnyfolk, because there's no sub races to bunnyfolk. This is like, you get what you get. They're bunnies. That's it. So something environmental, whether it's purposeful, like a Captain Planet villain kind of a thing, or accidental. If they kind of grew up on the edge of the Trash Kingdom, and the Trash Kingdom overflowed on one of its borders.
And pollution.
Yeah, pollution. No. Because you might like trash, and you might be immune to poison or to have whatever kind of benefits in living in that area. But that seeps around. That can be messy. It could just be, look, bandits in the wild. You get 2 little kids going out into the forest, kind of romping and playing, and something happens. It could honestly, whether she'd admit it or not, and maybe this is why she's so convicted to be, so close to her friends, and why her pride will be her undoing as per her flaw. What if an accident happened that Zewxip was responsible for? And what if the accident caused the death of her friend? Now, she could displace it and say, well, maybe we were running from a creep in the woods. And then we, something happened. I ducked, or I whatever. I tried to throw a stone at the person chasing us, and I hit my friend instead. And then so I know secretly that I have killed my friend, but I was blaming it on the bandit. And there's evidence, obviously, of bandits in the woods, because there's bandits in the woods. They're going to leave evidence. But that could have been my personal conviction as Zewxip. I carry this guilt, and maybe over the years and through the reincarnations, I've convinced myself that it was someone else. Yeah, I threw the stone, but it really wasn't my fault. I'm still going to step up for my friend because I'm loyal. I have to be loyal. That's how I get absolution.
I almost think, like, in that situation, that totally works. But what also could be really cool is, if we've determined that they're young, right? They're still kind of kids, in a way when this happens.
Yeah, they'd be like 1 or 2. So, young adults for their species.
Yeah. Young adults do dumb things, right? I almost think
what?
It'd be really interesting.
Get out.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's absurd. It's just like on a dare, right? Maybe this Bunnyfolk goes and explores someplace that is definitely dangerous, right? And just maybe doesn't come back, or any number of things could have happened, right? I think that would also be another really cool way to take. Obviously, you could just do the bandit chasing in the woods, but I don't know. There's a lot of different ways we can roll with it.
That plays into the thing where Bunnyfolk can, it's not that they're fearless as per the mechanics of a halfling, but they're kind of maybe oblivious to
naive
to danger, and so maybe they went off and they did dare each other, so they're young and at least the Bunnyfolk are big beautiful watery wide eyes, little wiggly nose, like, oh, nothing's gonna hurt me. I'm a Bunnyfolk. Nothing's ever hurt us. We sing and dance all day in the pasture.
You have a feature called cute.
Oh shoot. I have a feature called cute. Where am I? Ability. That's a Dex +2 and Charisma, I gotta add that in, Charisma or Strength, by 1. Oh jeez, I need both. You're killing me. I need Charisma and Strength as a Paladin here. It's fine. Dex is all right and understandable.
Yeah, you could be a Dex Paladin. Perfect. Nothing stopping you.
Age, alignment. I did give myself dark vision, and I did see as a small race, you did give us 30 feet, and I imagine that's because rabbits are quick.
Exactly.
Perception and proficiency skill, so that's big ears. Bunny hop. Oh, cute. It's right under. You have proficiency in the persuasion skill. Maybe I should go charisma as the +1.
Yeah, I think it worked fine because you don't have to use strength to be a paladin. You can absolutely use dexterity.
Yeah.
And wield like a rapier or a short sword or any number of. The short sword just feels so Redwall to me.
Yeah, it did.
Really does.
And so bunny hop real quick before I go any quicker there. Using your movement, you can jump up to 30 feet horizontally or 15 feet vertically without a running start. When you choose to leap vertically and jump to a surface, that if of an elevation higher than or equal to your current elevation.
Oh, is there a typo in it?
Might be, yes. You land gently to the ground at the end of the jump. Okay, so bunny hop is good for some movement. We are cute. We get persuasion. Powerful legs. Your legs are powerful natural weapons if you hit with it. And by the way, that is also in the Redwall series. Is Basil Staghair is a foot fighter, so he'll kick really hard. So we have powerful legs. I'm going to put that as a weapon. Powerful legs. Bludgeoning damage of 1d6 plus strength or... Oh, you made that strength or dex. How nice. And languages you can speak, read, and write. Bunnish. It's probably
a special language of bunny folks.
Probably very nasal. And common.
Just little bunny folk. Snurp. That's the sound I'm gonna say. So snurp.
Yeah, snurp.
Snurp.
Rabbits and squirrels too. If you've never heard them, they can make some interesting and sometimes terrifying noises.
They can scream.
Yeah, they can. Derek, you got to crash. All right, be well, my friend. And thank you for that artwork you're putting in for the channel. Let me make sure I didn't... New Monica, yeah, Mighty Paladin from the Kingdom of Watership. It's like Waterdeep, only a bit more down. Oh, New Monica. You got me on that one. That was a better pun than I've delivered so far. Congrats on that. Alright, so per race we have Bunny Hop. And this will conclude what we get for being a bunny folk. We're quick. Building a Dex Paladin does sound interesting. because it does challenge the norm. You're heavy armor and all this, but going Dex could be a lot of fun, since it's both offensive and defensive.
Yeah, mechanically, I mean, it doesn't much of a difference. Just whether you want to be a very quick character, right, or if you see her as more of the heavy hitter.
Yeah, well, especially Dex Charisma, that would build up to having at least a couple more spell slots possibly available, which would mean just that extra smite or two. And a lot of people, I think, came into 5th edition like, oh, paladins are tanks. Yeah, but oof, they're damage dealers. You get some smites online and multi-attack and all that. All right, so I'm going to put that away. And if anyone does want to reference that, it is at DnD, the letter D, the letter N, the letter D, time.stream. And
post just a link in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, there we go. And also, if anyone was curious about playing on Friday, is that closed, or is that still technically open?
I believe it should still be open currently. So if folks are interested in playing in D&D time, again, we do 3 1 to 2 hour one-shot adventures every Friday on the D&D time Twitch channel, twitch.tv/D&D time. You can sign up on our website, and I mean, link is just in the chat. Look at the sidebar. Look for the sign-up up. Gotta plug my channel.
Listen to their theme song, which if that doesn't get stuck in your head, then
it's something.
You are not a human being. I'm just gonna say it flat out. You're not a human being. Just staring right into the camera, right into your presumed soul. It's quite the earworm.
It gets.
All right, so a level 1 Paladin. It's not too complicated. We get a +2 proficiency bonus. We're going to get Divine Sense, as well as Lay on Hands. In order to do a little bit of curative restoration or some removal of disease or poison. You have 5 points of Lay on Hands per level. We're level 1, so bada boom, there we go. And Divine Sense is, it's a couple paragraphs. It's not terrible, but it's kind of like a detect intention for people around you.
Detect bad.
Yeah, like it's insight +1. We are level 1, so we get 1 d10 hit dice. And then we are proficient with all armor and shields. All and shields. Weapons, simple and martial. No tool proficiencies. Our saving throws are wisdom and charisma. And 2 skills. Oh, you know what? We still have to apply the criminal background here, but while we're on this, athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion.
Let's see. Very young.
Why don't we explore the background to get her personality? And I think that might shape our decision. Yeah. I jumped the gun. Class, even your professor here does derp out on such things. I'm so excited to build this character that I had to just dive right into this. I had to jump head first. All right, so we're gonna get deception and stealth. Very good for a charisma and dex.
Yeah.
And a tool proficiency, 1 type of gaming set and thieves tools. A gaming set. What would that be for a bun? I guess dice.
Yeah, dice would make a. What's the kind of gaming set, right, that they might have, right, just kind of naturally available in their.
Something like Mancala could be interesting, right? It's just a simple game of wood and stones.
Yeah, that would definitely work. I think. What else would be? Yeah, they definitely have that.
and dice or some other things. What would be a game that could possibly have gambling mechanics? Because I think you all have run. I don't know. Have you ever really called for game set checks or could people prompt you for them? I imagine.
Absolutely. So a lot of what we do in D&D time, because of the very, very free form nature of how we kind of play, if players have a how do I put it? If they have like a gaming set or a tool proficiency or something, and they're doing any sort of skill that might be vaguely related to it, they can absolutely ask to roll that kind of stuff. We have had a few adventures that actually did involve gaming set. There was one adventure which was a nice card game, and then in one adventure they were in a casino, which was very convenient, or at least for those who have them.
Well, yeah. Well then,
I like Mancala. I think that's a really cool, like a very simple kind of game that they would all definitely have. Oh, it'd be another really silly gaming set. The little what do they call them? They got the boards with little holes in them, and you throw the hacky sacks or whatever through them.
Oh, cornhole.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a real simple, like.
Yeah, I could see that actually being something between rabbits and plants. Yeah, I like that. Mancala, I think, it does have an elegance to it in his strategery, but especially maybe among the young. This game, I'm sure it has another name it goes by. I forget offhand, but yeah, we'll just say that she's proficient with thieves' tools and playing cornhole.
I love that she's very good at cornhole.
Yeah.
And I love, because that's also kind of thing, right? Where that's something you could totally use in an adventure, right? Like, hey, I want to throw this thing over to that spot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm proficient in cornhole. I can do that. Just when we play the Space Jam event, it's going to be great. You're going to be so good at basketball. You got those Bunnyfolk up. You can jump really well. You can throw really well. You're going to be the all-star.
And I might even get some sort of like passive consideration for drinking or barbecuing. All right. So my criminal specialty, or if we're going with spy, because we can flesh that out, was number 7, a pickpocket. Well, I do have these little paws. A pickpocket. So this could have been, if I'm criminal and I get stealth. Maybe, I think that's supporting your statement that this was a dare. Go into, old man McGillicuddy's cave and steal his crystal ball or something like that. It doesn't have to be old man McGillicuddy, but obviously something happened in the cave, and that fun day out turned into a tragedy.
Yeah, maybe it's not something that's known, right? Like, it was a dare. She went into the cave. Never, didn't come out. Zewxip went in after a time, and maybe found them dead. And it's, what have I done? What has happened?
Yeah,
sending Zewxip off on their quest. The big thing that I'm really wondering, right? So we're going Oath of Vengeance.
Yes.
Why is she going to be vengeful? Right? Is she vengeful because she died? I mean, that's kind of the gimme, right? That word, vengeful against whatever might have killed her. But I don't know. Like, is the pasture still there? Right? If a lot of time has passed, like if decades have passed, and that pasture is gone, maybe that's what people again, whoever or whatever for. Like you mentioned, the dump was a really cool means to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be an interesting way if, like, the pasture was destroyed by the overwhelming heaps of garbage.
Yeah.
And that gives her a very real enemy in the land of D&D time.
Yeah,
which is
and it's interesting, and that puts an interesting twist, because I know there's characters from the Trash Kingdom, and not that PvP is a thing, or that I would stab someone in the back, but it could be a coming to terms. I view the vengeance as a bridge between being a kid and dying in some tragedy, and coming back and reawakening X amount of years later to your friend who's, older and more developed than you, physically in her current form, but also mentally, saying, hey, it's been 50 years, welcome back. And so something changes. And so this kid is still a kid, and he's a young adult, but he has that grudge against the world somehow. He needs to go and get it out of his system. He has these questions of identity, of self. Why was I brought back? Who brought me back? If it wasn't Bartholomew himself, if he was merely the agent, then what happened? Where was I? And those can be frustrating to a kid or to a young adult. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, that could just be the vengeance. It's not against a thing, but just the greater concept of the world killed me.
Yeah,
right? The world is unfair. An awful, evil, vicious place. I'm so cute. How could the world do this to me?
I have a mechanic for it too.
I'm flannerizing a little, but
now this is for criminal contact. It says you have a reliable and trustworthy contact who acts as your liaison to a network of other criminals. You know how to get messages to and from your contact, even over great distances. Specifically, you know the local messengers, corrupt caravan masters, and seedy sailors who can deliver messages for you. Well, you know who's a sailor that has a lot of seeds and has traveled the world? What if Zewxip is his criminal contact?
I mean, that would be a very cool contact.
Plus, with him just coming back as a paladin, and Zewxip is around, she might be the one to spread the word to the other Zewxips and go from there. And I think that's a good way to link the characters together too.
Absolutely. I really love the way it's just like falling into place. That's the beauty of making random characters.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love it.
Discovering it as it all just...
And we don't even have smoke pouring out of our ears. Like, this has been casual. This has been really relaxing and laid back. And now an entire, a saga before a level 1 character exists is being made. All right, now let's check out the personality. Who is she coming back as? Number 3. The first thing I do in a new place is note the locations of everything valuable. Well, I am a pickpocket.
Oh.
Or where such things could be hidden. And I do have perception as well, so that works out pretty well, I think. And if I was as a kid during my kid adventures, I was that little rapscallion, the person who would try to squeeze into small places, try and go fetch things and do these daring games with Zewxip. Then I think then we call it criminal, but it could just be
kids being kids.
Kids being kids. Yeah, because kids will take a candy bar from a store. They either don't know or they don't care. And so
they don't have the context to realize that's actually not a good thing.
Exactly. All right, and number 8. Ooh, I blow up at the slightest insult.
Oh no.
That is not a flaw. That is a personality trait, my friends. Her ideal is number 4, greed. And that is, I will do whatever it takes to become wealthy.
Interesting.
Now, wealthy, I mean, it could be monetary wealth. I mean, maybe we had a little klepto bunny who just wanted to collect shiny stones. And now coming back after all these years, realizing, well, people outside the meadow don't just trade shiny stones and, the poo or corpses of their people for currency. They trade gold pieces and gems or little things. Maybe I start to covet that stuff too. I guess that will be developed over the time and adventures.
Yeah, you know what? This is actually interesting because this makes me think, how does this potentially tie into... I keep thinking back to that pasture, right? Yeah. As a potential, if something has happened to the pasture, maybe someone bought it and built something on it. And that I want to buy my pasture back.
Paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Yeah, right. At least it's a thought.
Yeah. Oh no, I like it. I mean, if we really don't want Bartholomew to be the most popular guy. Hey, I brought you back to life, and by the way, my shop is I built my shop on a cursed pet cemetery.
I built my
That's where all
shop
the
on
weird
this
stuff
fine
is
little
happening.
pasture.
It doesn't have to be that, but that's kind of
No.
fun just because I think Bartholomew is a glutton for punishment.
Oh yeah, he's easy. He's an easy target. I love Fluffy Sheep saying, "Oh, all traits are flaws today."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now my bond is I'm guilty of a terrible crime. I hope I can redeem myself for it. So maybe there is that sense of guilt also of I went in and I did something I shouldn't have done, which is, go to Old Man McGillicuddy's cave and steal his precious orb that he needed to see, or, go and cross the border into, maybe the crime was local to the Bunnyfolk, and the Bunnyfolk said, now, character, you don't cross this border because if you go into the Trash Kingdom, not only is it poisonous, but random garbage falls out of the sky and you could be hurt. So it's a crime to interfere with the Trash Kingdom because that's those people and we're our own. And so he might carry that guilt of I violated like one of the only things this utopian glade had a rule about, which is don't cross the line into the Trash Kingdom. And I did that, and I died for it. And I feel shame at now because her parents are long gone. Several generations of Zewxips have come and gone without him being there. And so that could be a very sore point. And another reason why he lashes out in this sort of vengeful, the world isn't fair, because the world's not fair because it's not fair. But it's also, he harbors that little bit of guilt inside of him that he did the one thing people didn't ask him to do. Like, here's unlimited fresh grass and water and flowers and butterflies and all the cute stuff you want. But you did the one thing that we asked you not to do. Like, that's our one law. Don't go to the Trash Kingdom. And you did.
Yeah, and maybe they blame themselves, right? That like the glade is gone because they think or blame themselves because that's what they did. Maybe it was like a kind of secretive glade.
Yeah,
right.
It could have even caused the death of others, like a searching party who went out. And
I mean, there's so much you can run with.
And lastly, the flaw is when. By the way, that if I'm a pickpocket, that might also explain why I've been so daring to go to the Trash Kingdom and try and steal what I can from there. When I see something valuable, and again, what's valuable to a rabbit? A rock, a shiny rock, a pretty flower. The Trash Kingdom, then everything is valuable because I don't understand all of it. When we see something, or when I see something valuable, I can't think about anything but how to steal it.
Oh no.
Well, I don't have sleight of hand through a paladin for some reason, but that does seem to be. I do like now. We're going like criminal, but it's kind of like quote unquote criminal. It's just being a dumb. It's the background is being a dumb kid, being an impulsive child, a criminal pickpocket. This works out very well, and I think provides another bond into the lands of D&D time, and even to other characters who are out of the Trash Kingdom. And so now with that, let's let's go back to Paladin and to our skills, and we can choose between athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, or religion, and what might be appropriate for this character, knowing who he is or who she is and what she's done.
Could feel like athletics maybe. If they steal a lot, maybe they run a lot.
yeah. Running and climbing, trying to get over walls. I was thinking that as well. I may be a dex paladin, but you know what? Having athletics certainly helps. Even if I don't go high strength. Maybe...
I'm not sure I see intimidation. But, I mean, medicine could just be familiar with, like, plants. That would be...
oh, yeah. I think medicine can work. I grew up around plants. We're a short-lived race. So, I mean, having to know some first aid to try and maximize as many years as you could live, I think that could work. Yeah, let's go medicine and athletics. Okay, and then I get a starting package, a martial weapon, and a shield, or 2 martial weapons. what would I have?
I mean, the classic one is the rapier. But I see the rapier is like so swashbuckly, at least to me.
What is a whip a finesse weapon?
Oh, I think it is.
Let's go to chapter 5 real quick. A whip and a shield could be interesting. Also, I mean, because I know you guys are open-minded to that, I could even use the whip in my purloining of objects. A whip is a finesse and reach weapon, 1d4 slashing.
That'd be a variant.
In fact, Blossomers get Thorn Whip, and so this could be an extension of my contact with the Blossomers, and this is my way of, I guess.
You just have a Thorn Whip.
Yeah. Like I'm used to, we always had to make ours out of roots or something like that, but we would have whipping contests. Or something along those lines. It's
who can crack it louder.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very kid contest. There, it's like, yeah, my whip cracks louder than yours.
Yeah, and then of course you got to see who can whip the furthest, and just it becomes that. In fact, there's even a child's game called it's I think it's called Whip Crack or Whip Snap. And of course there's Whipper Snappers, which is also a term for kids. But it was an old playground game where kids would kind of get in a line and spin in a circle, and then like they'd stop, but that would kind of like ripple down the line, and the last kid with the momentum would like kind of fly off. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but I think a whip would be very cosmetic. We'll go whip and shield for this character. I'm really digging that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
5 javelins or any simple melee weapon.
Got a short sword.
A short sword could work. I mean, you always need a dagger.
That being said, if you have a javelin,
ranged,
you could just kind of stick it out there and use a steel thing.
And use a what?
You can use it almost like an extension of your tiny little bunny arm. You just stick out the javelin, get it up under the key ring.
A javelin under the...
No, I was saying you could use the javelin to steal things, right? You put a little hook on the end of the javelin.
Yeah.
And then you reach out and
Sly Cooper cane. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see either way.
And actually, you know what? I realize I don't even really need a ranged weapon. I am ranged. I can jump 15 feet in the air, or I could jump 30 feet forward and stab. But a javelin, I think, is still a good option, and I like that, turning it into a little Sly Cooper thief's hook.
Yeah, because you can totally use it in melee too. Oh, the downside to it though is I think javelin's just strength.
That could be.
I mean, I think it works either way,
Because otherwise it would be, yeah. Unless we reflavored the rapier to be kind of just like a javelin, but the rapier has a little, a little what's-a-doodle. That could work.
Yeah, you could totally run it either way. I mean, I think regardless, right? You're mainly going to be using...
Oh, it says simple, though, so I guess technically I'm going outside the bounds of the starting package if I did take a rapier.
But that's okay.
It's also
in
25
D&D
gold
time,
pieces. What's that?
In D&D time, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
We have no qualms with that. Any mundane weapons and stuff, and not armor. Armor's different. But any mundane weapons are...
All right, then you all heard it here first. I have permission. I'm not gaming the system. He's doing this for anyone that would ask, not just me.
It's true.
A priest's pack or an explorer's pack? Well, you know what? He has come back. I think he needs to find a lot of answers. A part of me wants to give him a priest pack because, he came back and maybe Bartholomew gave this to him and said, you need to, learn, like, reacquaint yourself with the world and try and find yourself because I don't know who you are. And, this could help you do so. And so that would add a little bit more angst to our teen bunny here. You know, you're kind of giving out some holy scripture and like, well, this is relevant. This is cultural. And you read it, you're like, well, no, I'm 13 years old. I know absolutely everything in the world. This is not. And I could play off that, right?
Yeah, he's got it. But does he like it?
I like that idea. I have it. Do I use it? Same with, I mean, I guess I technically need the holy symbol. And I guess I also get chainmail, but if you don't...
I don't know if the Paladin actually needs a holy symbol. Because you only really need a holy symbol, right, for material components. And I don't think many Paladin spells actually material components.
No, I wonder if it's...
very few.
No, it's not Aura Courage. Sacred Oath.
I just can't remember off the top of my... How many Paladin spells... What a question that no one has ever asked before now.
Channel Divinity to invoke primeval forces. As an action, you can use Spectral Vines. Now this is on the Green Knight version. So it doesn't... Oh, as an action, you present your holy symbol, but... I mean...
Maybe his
is that a material component like an arcane focus? Or in this case, what if... would you allow that instead of a holy symbol to be something like a trinket?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be totally fine. Additionally, I know Paladins can have their holy symbols emblazoned upon their shield, too.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember where on Earth in the book that is, but I definitely have heard that somewhere. I think it gotta be in the spell cap.
And then as for armor, it gives me chainmail, but if I want to play up the dex, I probably don't want to go high strength, so I might not even be able to wear chainmail. So for armor then, because you did make an exception, like, is that, can I sell the chainmail back and get armor up to that or something?
The way that we do armor in D&D time is there are 2 tiers of armor. There's the basic armor, and there is the, upgraded. So basic armor consists of, and I just need to open up the shop page of the site. Basic armor is leather armor, hide, chain shirt, scale mail, or chainmail. And you can just have whichever of those you would like. Totally fine with all. So, Bartholomew outfits his adventure.
Okay, so it could be chain shirt instead then.
Absolutely, or leather, or whatever floats your boat.
I guess. Well, technically stealth is disadvantage with scale mail, but I could always take it off. But the scale mail costs less than chainmail.
Well, the cost isn't a factor. It's all in D&D time. It's you're right. In a normal,
I'll just go to a chain shirt, and it'll be 13 plus dex.
Not bad.
And that way, I can still keep my stealth while I'm armored until I can do something else with it. So chain shirt. Okay. And that. I don't get any spells, and so that is about... I think that's about it for our character, then. As a first-level Bunnyfolk.
Yeah, wow, we're pretty much done.
Yeah. So there's the holy symbol, so I guess one last jump into Chapter 5. Go to the D100. Now, Fluffy Sheep did say paladins that have shields can have their holy symbol on their shield, so you might not need a separate symbol. Or, if it's a shield, maybe it's sort of like... we could describe it as like a wooden shield, and it's sort of like, pounded onto the front of it or something along those lines. Let me roll a D100 and find out what the trinket is. Hopefully it's not like another rabbit's foot. That would be just kind of...
It's a plant foot.
Yeah, it's a plant foot. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Like a mysterious seed from an No, I know whose it is. Come on. All right, I rolled a 79. A 79 is... Oh... An invitation to a party where a murder happened.
Interesting.
Does that change something? Everything?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a random invitation. No, if it's a holy symbol, that's... Maybe it was a hostile take.
Yeah,
of the glade.
This is vengeance. That's the focus of my vengeance, right? This.
Huh.
And so I keep it nailed to my shield as a reminder of invitation to a party where a murder happened. So,
I mean,
in a lot of
it only
stories,
says-
rabbits sneak into gardens and will like munch on, like the Farmer Jones's carrots or whatever. And so the farmer will set a trap for the rabbit, and then the rabbit goes and and they're caught. So what if this is either Old Man McGillicuddy, someone in the Trash Kingdom? They're tired of having their stuff stolen by these mischievous pasture dwellers, and invited them to either as a challenge, like, well, I bet you can't steal this, and then the kids are like, well, Superman syndrome, of course we can. Does that make sense? And so maybe then the murder was the trap, and the person was and the Bunnyfolk was caught.
Yeah, I really like this, right? So we're getting this narrative together. They sneak out on a dare.
Yeah.
They get caught. Because of that, whoever catches them, Old Man McGillicuddy, finds out about the glade, sets this trap, right? And there we have that guilt playing in there. We have
the crime of telling people about the glade.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't tell people about where we live because they're going to want to come and ruin it, or extort it, or whatever, or harvest us.
And I like the idea of being a kid, right? At the time, probably can't understand, right, that the rest of the world is evil, right?
Yeah.
It can be bad.
Yeah, we grew up in Lorwyn, and there's this whole Shadowmoor that still exists out there.
We don't talk about Shadow.
Oh gosh. All right, well then I just got to drop in stats. I don't know if I've kept you up way past your bedtime, but I think the majority of the RP, the concept, has been fleshed out, and it's really just me dropping in the standard array and going from there.
Well, my cat is going to lambaste me for not going to sleep. I'm sure he'll survive.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me, Matty. This has been really cool. I'm excited to see
it's a lot of fun.
I'm excited to see when you play this character.
Yeah. I'll be very excited for this. I think I did sign up as Zewxip in a Fable this week, but maybe I could do a little side role play through Zewxip and kind of introduce the character at the end when we're talking to Bartholomew, and he can say, yeah, your order's ready.
that would be excellent. Yeah. Well, there's some doing, but I've managed it. Here you go.
Oh, I love it. All right, well, thank you, sir.
Wonderful.
Go. You don't make your cat angry, because that's just going to make everything miserable.
Alrighty, Matty. Take care, and take care, chat. I love you guys. I will catch you tomorrow. Take care.
Yep. See ya. So now the question is, where do the stats fall? We could do something like, if we want to go Dex Charisma, we could put the 15 here, and we could put the 14 here, and so then when we hit level 4, we can round up. Well, but then we'll have a 13 that's just kind of hanging out somewhere. So if we do the 13, 14... So that'll be a 17. No. How do I want to do this to make it a little bit more? You in the stat distribution, you can always drop a spare 1 into strength, because you do get mechanical benefit for push, pull, drag, lift, etc. out of that. But how could I go about this? Because you do get 2 odd numbers. And so I'd want to end up with 2 odd numbers if I want to split one of my ASIs. Oh, page 151. Let's go to it. 151. Holy symbol is a representation of a god or pantheon. It might be an amulet depicting a symbol representing a deity, the same symbol carefully engraved or inlaid as an emblem on a shield, or a tiny box holding a fragment of a sacred relic. Appendix B lists the symbols commonly associated with many gods in the multiverse. A cleric or Paladin can use a holy symbol as a spellcasting focus, as described in chapter 10. To use the symbol in this way, the caster must hold it in hand, wear it visibly, or bear it on a shield. Okay. So the letter could be tacked onto the shield, or I could invoke it in some interesting way in my pursuit of vengeance. You know, you did this. You know, you ruined the pasture and the people while still carrying that angsty teen guilt. That it was me the whole time, actually. You know what? I like that. Strength is just going to have to deal and get a spare one here. Because having a 14 wisdom and a 14 charisma is going to be fine. Let's go 12 con. I've been brought back to life. I'm a healthy bun. I'm not too smart, though. I don't know much. I was a kid. I died. I came back. I don't know much about the world. I think an intelligence of 8 as a dump stat is appropriate. So that'll put my dexterity to 17. And that'll put my charisma to 14. And that will then make strength 0, dex 3, con 1, int -1, wisdom 2, charisma 2. Initiative is a dex check, so that's a +3. Armor class is going to be 13 +3, so I have an armor class of 18 with my shield if I'm using it, 16 otherwise. Passive perception is going to be 14 because I have proficiency and it's a +2 modifier. Saving throw is 0 and 2, going down 3, 3, 3, and 5. Con is 1. I'm just going to copy paste my intelligence all the way down. Non-proficients are 2s, proficients are 4s. And same with charisma. There we go. Powerful legs then is going to be 1d6 +3. The whip is 1d4 +3 with a reach of 10, and that is slashing damage. And the rapier is 1d6 +3 piercing. Oh, good. I have each of the 3 damage types represented. My attack, I'm attacking off of dexterity, so it's going to be a +5. +5. +5. I have no spell slots. I have 5 points of lay on hands. Nothing new for the class, and I don't have an archetype yet. So congratulations. I believe we have a... oh, hit points. At first level, you get your maximum hit die and hit points. So that's going to be 10, plus our constitution modifier of 1. So we have 11 hit points at level 1. And now all we need is a name. I don't know, does a name jump out at you? What would a female Bunnyfolk name a good one be? Now, the boys at D&D time give some sample names. For example, Boomer, Chat, Chubbs, Hopper, Lil Snooper, Tapper, and Silver Scut. Oh, Rapier is D8. Whoops. Did I make an oopsie? Apparently. Alright, Rapier 1d8. Thank you. I must have been thinking of short sword. We were talking about that. When you do apply to Paladin school, they give you an admission test, and if you pass, they don't admit you. Oh, you know what? They have a method for naming characters, and that's how Zewxip got her name. Trust a Flump. I don't know if you're still out there. I'm gonna have to try and find that method. No. All right. They have a random name generator that is like one letter at a time. I'm gonna get a copy of that generator, and maybe what we can do in the next broadcast is to generate her name using that system as a fun, just as a fun way of going about it. All right, so our to-be-named Bunnyfolk mostly exists. By the way, we are small, S-M-O-L. Another D&D time character is born. Dun, da, da, da. Cool. Well, I hope that was fun for you all, and that this was, this was something that was, a little bit different given the bunny folk. Okay, so what I want to do, it's 2 a.m. Oh, make a 26-sided die and roll the letters. So they have a system that's not, it's kind of like that, but not really, Dark Wolf. Also, hello, Wave. I hope you had a good day. Good seeing you. Let's go raid Technotron. It's 2 a.m., but you know what? I could use that extra time. These are kind of quiet hours around the, if you want to call this an office. And I still have some work to get done to get, I gotta now add these minis to the orphanage and get things set up. So let's go raid Technotron. Looks like he might be making a map, doing some workshop. So let's continue that workshop vibe and go say hi to him here. And so we'll finish up for the evening. We'll come back on Thursday. We'll name this character. We'll make another, and then we can continue perhaps some dungeon building. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. So thank you all for being around. Congrats to the raffle winners for the month, and I'm full of positivity and energy. Thanks to you all. Oh, we got to get through Ad Purgatory here. Just one moment. Okay. Oh, it's they're actually playing. Oh, is that an ooze on the field? Okay, let's check it out.